Welcome to today's All Societies platform. May this day find you at peace and leave you with hope. I am Khandra, Sears, a member of the Baltimore Ethical Society and president of the board of the American Ethical Union. This season, in many places around the world, is a time of celebration, connection, and often reconnection with loved ones, with ourselves, and with our world. Particularly after the last few years of isolation and the current geopolitical conflicts happening around the world, taking time to honor our connections with each other and with our surroundings is vital. As we complete the cycle that was the year 2023 and envision 2024, I want to share with you a Bahamian-inspired poem by Peggy Herring. It emphasizes the cycle of life and the connectedness between death and new life. Cycle. You were birthed tightly bound, relief of green veins over soft peach skin, held by the long stem umbilical cord to the life source mother tree. Unfurling, gently twirling, life force pushing forth, pollen antennae, feeling for light, drinking the rain, spreading your seed. The butterfly has touched you, full bloom of life, has sculpted you strong. Then the wind tests your strength. Some petals turn brown, the sun parches your skin, and the ants crawl all around. You were birthed tightly bound. Relief of green veins through soft peach skin, held by the long stem umbilical cord to the life source mother tree. Now your petals turn brown, and the ants crawl all around. They say old lady butler in the settlement just died, and there's another bloom on the hibiscus tree.
Peace begins in our hearts, that's where it comes from, where it starts. Planted like a seed, let it grow strong like a tree. Peace begins in our heart, that's where it comes from, where it starts. Let's plant the world as a forest of love. Peace begins in our hearts, that's where it comes from, where it starts. Planted like a seed, let it grow strong like a tree. Peace begins in our heart, that's where it comes from, where it starts. Let's plant the world as a forest of love.
This program is dedicated to Dr. Wangari Maathai, Nobel Peace Laureate of 2004, for her work called the Green Belt Movement. In 2001, Simba and Audrey both had the beautiful experience of meeting Dr. Maathai at the Brooklyn Society for Ethical Culture, and we have each taught children and communities about her ever since.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ann Klaeysen, and I'm an ethical culture clergy leader beaming into you from my home in Brooklyn. And it is a great honor that I have this morning, and that is to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Audrey Kindred, who is inviting the ethical culture diaspora to come tree with me. Audrey has led ethical intergenerational programming for 25 years and currently serves the New York Society for Ethical Culture as Director of Ethics for Children. This involves creating and running programs for children, youth, and families, as well as leading intergenerational festivals. She is currently completing a master's degree that centers mindful climate justice education. Audrey is focused on how creativity and embodiment impact our ethical development. She honors retired ethical leaders Liesl Burns and Martha Gallahue as her ethical roots. Finally, Audrey is the co-author with me of a brand new online course published by the American Humanist Association Center for Education called Humanist Family Life Ceremonies. And now I'd just like to sing some personal praises of Audrey. It was such a delight working on this course with you, Audrey. And of course, she and I met at the Brooklyn Society. My children, Andrew and Emily, were her assistant teachers in the Children's Sunday Assembly there. And when I was clergy leader at the New York Society and I had an opportunity, I brought Audrey over to the New York Society to help our families there. I'm so very glad I did. Audrey, for me, embodies ethical culture values. Everything she does and says and creates is imbued with our values of acting to bring out the goodness in others and eliciting that from one another. So it is my great pleasure to hand it now over to my dear friend and colleague, Audrey Kindred.
We call Anne Dr. Anne. Thank you, Dr. Anne. I just wanted to say welcome. So glad and so thankful that you're here, that we're all here together. We're here to build ethical community together this morning. And we each come to that from exactly where we are right now. So please welcome yourself as you are. And I'd like to do a tiny bit of housekeeping before we start. I'm going to ask that we stay focused and present and try to get embodied ourselves. So I'm going to lead a little bit of body work and fun. And, you know, the privilege of teaching children as well as adults is that you realize that everybody needs a little bit of that, right? And so I want to bring that into our morning and welcome the child and the elder all to play with thoughts this morning and play with bodies and breath. So I'd also like to just ask that we refrain from chatting in the chat box because we're going to use our chat box for a very particular purpose this morning, and we'll just use it for that purpose. It's called Cascade of Thought, and it helps us build a group mind together. And so we're going to do a practice round of cascading through the chat box. So what we'll do is I'll ask you a question. You'll put your answer into the chat, only typing it in. Don't press return. Don't press the arrow that says that helps you send it. Just pause after you finish typing. And then when I say 1, 2, 3, Human-I-Tree, we will all press the send button together and you'll see the cascade of thought. The invitation this morning is for us to grow together. And the inspiration is literally from the tree. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but just for a minute, let's do a cascade of welcoming one another. So you're going to open your chat box and you're just going to write a greeting to the community that is here, this gathered community. And you can write your name. If you are from an ethical society, you can write your ethical society. If you're from, you can write your city. And if you have a favorite way of saying hello in any language or in any special word that you love to share as a greeting, please do that. And in a moment, I'll ask us to all press the send button together. So please pause after you write. Just take a minute to do that typing. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, Human-I-Tree. Press the send button. You might enjoy for a minute just looking at who's here. And maybe say hello with our bodies. Let's actually say hello with our bodies. And now we're going to ground our bodies. So, we're going to root ourselves and get some vigor for our morning so that we can grow together. Our bodies, you might have your feet on the ground or you might have your hips in a seat. Do a little stamping and wiggling to kind of root yourself down as deep as you can in your seat. And you can feel how your sit bones or your feet are literally pushing downward. And as you do that, you might feel the rebound effect of the long stem of your body, the spine of your body, the stem, the trunk of your body growing upward and blossoming through your brain and your lungs. Your lungs and your brain are treeing. They literally, neural passageways are branching and treeing. Alveoli in our lungs are branching to get our oxygen maximized. We're going to start breathing on purpose now. I call it bopping, breathe on purpose. So here we go. Breathe on purpose, breathing in. A gift from the trees. Breathing out, reciprocating energy toward the world. Breathing in and out. Take your own time, but do it on purpose because our body is breathing all the time. But when we breathe on purpose, we bring mindfulness in ourselves. We get embodied. We get invigorated in our thoughts. And we literally get more patient, more generous in our hearts. Breathing on purpose is the single most radical action we can each be doing on Earth, especially to bring out our ethical best. Breathe on purpose. When we get stressed, our breath goes a little wild. And we can know, I can breathe on purpose to reconnect myself. We have a helper in every breath we take. We have a helper in every breath we take. We need this helper. This helper is the tree. The tree is breathing with us. We do not breathe without it. And so I want to welcome us to tree in our minds, tree in our hearts, tree in our consciousness, tree in our breath, knowing that we have this incredible interdependence in every breath we take. It is the link between ourselves and the world. And I call this link Human-I-Tree. Human-I-Tree has an I in the center. You are an I. Every one of us is. So take your hands to your heart and say, yes, I am breathing. Yes, I am here, present. This I voice that we have is very powerful within each one of us. And what we do with it matters. How we stand up in the world with our I voice is what matters most about our voice, our ethical voice, our ideas, how we share them. Let me share the thoughts I have. Yeah? So yet in this word human and tree, Human-I-Tree, we might think that we're more human than tree. But like I said, we aren't. We are human and tree all at once in every breath we take. So just for a moment, you might even close your eyes and just see the trees in your consciousness and breathe on purpose. We're going to do a little bit of meditation. You don't have to sit still for this. You can dance. You can close your eyes, or you can watch the video that accompanies this song that I'm going to share. However you'd like to awaken your embodiment and your consciousness for the program ahead, please feel free. freedom to get a glass of water so you can water yourself like a tree, freedom to stretch and to just sit still and listen. It's really up to you. So we're going to now listen to a song that was created for ethical culture, specifically for this season, the season of darkness.
My roots go down with me into the dark to see. That is where I dream of a vision. That is where my soul makes decisions. My roots go down with me in through the dark to see. That is where I find my intuition. That is where I lose inhibition. My roots go down with me in through the dark to see. That is where I rest and grow. That is where my soul lets go. My roots go down with me in through the dark to see. That is where I stretch and breathe, where I dive into infinity. My roots go down with me in through the dark to see.
How can tree connectedness nourish our human nature to cultivate in us an expansive, courageous, and humane capacity for facing the essential issues of our times, the intersectional global crisis of climate change?
In rooting collectively, let us honor native land, air, and water rights. There have always been indigenous peoples in the spaces we call home, and there always will be. As co-creators of a humane and ethical culture, let us pay tribute to the original stewards of the spaces in which we live and gather. In particular, let us each acknowledge the indigenous peoples of the areas in which we now live. In acknowledging indigenous people, we take a step on the road toward humane reconciliation to develop a deeper understanding of the histories and responsibilities behind the places we each call home. as we each root down into our own consciousness. Collectively, let us root down into the consciousness of indigenous cultures all over this earth that lived in earth-connected knowledge. And this knowledge is so courageously and strongly being voiced now through youth activists all over the world, indigenous youth activists who have listened to their cultures and their ancestors, and who are bringing that consciousness to the forefront of leadership in the most urgent issues of our day, the climate justice movement. I want to honor those youth who are carrying their ancient cultures forward. And I want to say what an amazing opportunity we have right now, because science itself is affirming those ancient indigenous knowledges. It is not just romantic to learn from the indigenous peoples of our world. It is practical. It is imperative. It is smart. It is even scientific. And I welcome us to look for those bridges that help us gain confidence in these young voices that are taking incredible leadership right now. And I want to thank them. I am very lucky because at the New York Society for Ethical Culture, we have hosted these youth voices to grow. We have given them space to grow the climate marches that have happened from before the pandemic to now after the pandemic. And witnessing their way of organizing is so exciting. They are holding consciousness about their individual development and the collective within a single mind. It's not two minds. It's not me and then we. It's me, we. Me, we. They are bringing forth a beautiful example for us that we can really be paying attention to and honoring, learning from, and joining. I invite us all to pay attention. One of those deep indigenous knowledges that is being affirmed by modern science is that trees themselves are communities. In fact, they're an example to us of what community can look like. We can root down, reach out to each other to create stronger communities, modeling ourselves after the roots of the tree that reach under the ground where we cannot see. There is an enormous secret called community, Community. A world wide web through which we reach out to connect to one another. We might use the wood wide web that the trees connect with each other in as our model for how to keep our ethical balance with the World Wide Web. How are we communicating to each other globally? How are we one humanity? How are we a community? I invite ethical culture to see itself as a community. In the forest, there is what scientist Suzanne Simard calls the mother tree, and what I like to call the elder tree or the wisdom tree. It's a very old tree in the forest that reaches out through its roots to give nutrient to the young saplings so that they will grow successful in their strength, no matter the winds, no matter the challenges. And our challenges are great right now for human beings and for the world. Our challenge to live up to our ethical best and to bring our ethical best to the climate emergency that we face, this is a big ask. Let us learn from the trees and support each other and the youth in this work. We can literally, in every single choice we make, in every single day, we can make eco choices. And as we do that, we can grow our eco voices. Those eco voices are the conversations we have with each other to reach out and care about each other's worry of the planet and worry of communities that are suffering. Figuring out together, how can we help? How can we make solutions collectively, humanely? Not just solutions to an energy crisis, not just solutions to new kinds of energy, because we can do that while throwing a lot of people under the bus. And we don't want to do that. That's not our ethical culture. An ethical culture cares about all beings, all people, nature, life on Earth. And how we take care of this now is essential for each and every one of us to examine in every choice we make. That's not to make our choices more heavy. It's actually just to make that New Year's resolution that says, yes, I can bring tree consciousness forward. I can understand I am part of a world that needs me to make every choice in relationship to the earth. My teacher on this front was Wangari Maathai. This is my little painting of her. She came from Kenya. She was a tree hero. At Ethical Culture, we've created Tree and Me festivals to celebrate her for 20 years or so since she visited Ethical Culture and 3 years later won the Nobel Peace Prize. And I wanted to say that, for Ethical Culture to be ahead of the Nobel Peace Prize on this question it gave me a lot of faith in ethical culture, that we are learning really importantly together as we bring wise minds to speak to us, to learn together. And Wangari Maathai, she started the Green Belt movement in the 1960s, planting trees with women in Kenya and then all over the world, millions of trees, but not by seed bombing the earth. No, by using hands to dig into soil and then care and nurture for saplings until they grew. This is really important because we have a tree movement now where we are literally seed bombing the earth to plant trees. And then 3/4 of the trees die because there isn't this humanity happening in every sapling that we care for. So as we think about trees, let me invite you to take care of the trees around you, to help those trees get old. And as we do it, it might remind us to take care of the people around us and help our people as they get older too. So this wisdom, it is humanity. It goes from human to tree, to human to tree, to human to tree. Now, some of you who might be new to ethical culture, I want to introduce you to the founder of ethical culture, who's Felix Adler, and he started this movement of ethics and gathering beyond belief. What he said was, let's bring out the best in others and thereby ourselves. Not just let's just do my best, get my A+, let me be superlative, I am going to do my best. No, I can only do my best relationally by bringing out the best in someone else. And that teaches me something new about myself that lights me up inside. That is the principle, a foundational principle of ethical culture. now all of us have wisdom leaders speaking in our, speaking to us. And Felix Adler, he talks to me to guide me. But along the path, I found Wangari Maathai too. And now Felix Adler and Wangari Maathai talk to each other in my mind, though they never met and they never could have. And what Wangari Maathai says really grows Felix Adler's offering on another level. And it says, let us bring out the best in one another as we care for the earth together. And thereby I grow into my best self. The earth is part of our ethical equation. It never can be left out of what we call our humanity, our human endeavor, our ethical best. The earth is always, always both offering us learning, like the tree, and requiring our caring action. Let us take that so seriously as we move across the threshold of a new year into a deep commitment to this vision that it is us human beings who must make incredibly brave choices, maybe even sacrifices, for the betterment of the humanity. I wanted to just pause and just let you think of something now. I mentioned how Felix Adler and Wangari Maathai meet in my mind to bring out my development of thought. You yourselves each have a wisdom speaker who you are listening to, probably lots of them, but center one of them in your heart and mind right now. Bring them to mind. Who is guiding you forward? It might be an author from a book you've read that's just really got you, wow, excited, ignited. What we're going to do now is another cascade of thought. Now, you're going to write in the chat the name of someone who deeply inspires your ethical best. You could even say your eco-ethical best. Just somebody who comes to mind. And write their name in the chat. Don't press any return button and don't press the send button until I say 1, 2, 3 Community, which I will in a minute. After we've taken this moment to just think. And after we do press the send button, my colleague, Carolyn Parker, will read some of the answers that have come, but all of the answers will collectively be published for us so that we can see our group mind, our group wisdoms, and we can even research some of the names that we might not recognize to see who can I learn from that I haven't yet discovered. So let's now, we're going to press send on when I say community. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, community.
Audrey, we have several who've posted in chat.
Thank you. So that's just a sampling of what has come into our collectivity. And this collectivity is what we can continue to nourish in each other, sharing wisdoms from beyond our own selves, right? Weaving together new dialogues that have never existed between people who never could have met. That's our work. It takes imagination and it grows our thought. And we teach one another this way. And how exciting is all I have to say about that. How thrilling. I'd like to now welcome you into a concept that I mentioned earlier. This concept is the concept that says we are making eco choices. Every choice we make, let me put it this way, is an eco choice. You may ignore that fact, but if you do, you are neglecting to take the opportunity of consciousness, of ethical consciousness, to grow the world we need to grow together. The world that the youth are really asking us to please do grow together. And they're not asking just because they want a future. They're asking because they listen to the indigenous wisdoms that say, hey, how about the generations 7 generations down the line, the ones we will never know ourselves? Maybe they will have us in their minds as some of the voices that they can call in to strengthen themselves. Let us be those great ancestors to them. By bringing out our eco voices through our eco choices. What is an eco voice? An eco voice is when we stand up for the earth. We stand up for life. We stand up for life on earth, not just for ourselves, not just for our friends, but for the 7th generation down the line. And we can thank Indigenous wisdom for this vision and thank the youth carriers of that vision to bring it toward us. I just want to say that developing our eco voice can happen no matter who you are and no matter what form you love to think in. If you're a scientist, your eco voice can grow so vibrantly with your knowledge, but let a little imagination in so that it can grow vibrantly for you and nourish not just your mind, but your heart and your body, your life force, and your conversations. I have a friend who's a scientist, Jesus Torres, and he leads the most beautiful understanding of the way science can become our eco voice. Science is one eco voice. However, arts are another. Whether you draw, you sing, you dance, write poetry, bring that intention toward the environment, toward our collectivity, toward our interconnectedness, and develop through your own medium, your eco voice. Arts, scientists, mathematicians. There's a mathematician who tries to figure out the equations that branches might be described with. I mean, eco voices can happen and grow our consciousness so broadly. And what I'd like to do now is say that the children at Ethical Culture work on their eco voices in New York with me. And we brought in an artisan resident who was growing her eco voice because we really wanted to nurture the growth of the particular eco voice I'm going to give you a taste of right now through the next video. Again, as you watch, feel free to embody your own liveliness. You breathe on purpose, move, drink a cup of water. Here we go, an eco voice. a growing tree consciousness. You can see that. Just breathe that in for a minute. Let that land in your body. What that felt like. Just look inside yourself and feel the dance within you. Just what you remember from what you just saw and how that felt for you to see. During the pandemic, an old friend, the choreographer of that dance, Jody Sperling, posted a post of a little puppet and this little cape it was wearing with tree branches drawn on it, saying, "This is the costume I'm thinking of now for my next dance." And tree obsessed as I am, inspired by Wangari Maathai, I brought Jody into ethical culture to grow that tree. And at first it was just a tree dance, but now it is a forest. And so this dance has grown and grown as an ethical voice for all of us. And I wanted to share that gift. As we began to organize this tree vision together, the ethical culture community in New York joined me to create festivals around tree consciousness, a Humani-Tree festival, a community festival, and finally, a Uni-Tree festival based on the concept of unity. In a world where we are so busy fighting and being divided, how can we find our unity? Can the trees teach us how to get past our opinions and into our life force, our mutuality, and our interconnectedness, to help the trees that are struggling, the humans that are struggling, to reach out and share our nutrients with each other, the way the trees do in the forest? I can't emphasize how important it is that we learn this. We have to learn it very fast by slowing down, breathing more deeply, and connecting to the indigenous wisdoms, the earth wisdoms that are yearning to teach us human beings how to be human nature. We are nature. Let us be our ethical human nature. All of us, every human being on the earth, united, rather than divided by all of our opinions and loyalties. How do we get to that deeper place? I don't know. It's a good question, and we must ask it together and figure it out. So I invite us into Uni-Tree together. Just take a breath for that thought. And as we do this work of treeing, you can see I'm treeing every word I can find. I've even treed my own name. My name is Audrey, and now I encourage people to call me Aw-Tree, because I am in awe of the possibilities that we face. Excited for us to live up to the possibilities. And I am in awe of my teacher, the tree.
The trees are talking to us. A poem for Dr. Marion Glenn, who plants forests. Talking with each other, trees on a sultry summer day, are conversing deeply. Science says trees are social beings. Trees do what we do when we're kind. Trade ideas about health, weather, and food. Trees support birds, insects, us. Trees live sane lives and generate good karma. Glance upward while standing under plush trees and sense the true green cathedrals of earth. They're scared, warning each other of trouble. It will take a congregation of loving spirits to save them and us and our beloved young who live by their grace. Ghost forests are an emblem of profound injury, but another image comes through too, an image of sociability, of a community of personalities, a congregation of spirits who are monitoring losses of plant and animal species. Listen to the trees as the living, breathing, dying companions of life on Earth, creating atmospheric balance, photosynthesizing food for mammalian breasts, as the first link in the food chain that nourishes us. Listen, the trees are warning us. Earth sculpts itself with water, wind, quaking and drying as climate justice joins with social justice. The trees live, teaching us love and tell us what we could be.
So take a moment again to just absorb that. There's a lot to despair. But I'll tell you one thing that I've learned from the youth in the climate movement. Joy, camaraderie, mutual support. These are the keys to facing what's real in the world, as scary as it is, and knowing that you are the solution. That is a powerful thing. Take joy in being the solution and become the solution. And they reinforce this. And you've seen this if you've been to climate marches. You know, despite the despair, joy must lead the way. That means that, how do we get there? That just sounds so idealistic. But we are human beings, apt to panic when things are hard. What's the key? Breathing on purpose really helps. It really does. Each one of us has that powerful, powerful choice to breathe on purpose and get embodied. Ask myself, how do I feel? But not break down from those feelings. Build up, root down, and grow. We have to grow through the winds of our times. Strong and beautiful, supportive and connected. And I want to thank, the youth of the Fridays for Future movement for really, really, really embodying this. I just want to give that to all of us. We have that. We have that capacity to breathe on purpose and build ourselves up by rooting into our own embodiment for strength breathing deeper. Yes, I want to cry and break down, and I can cry, but then let me rise up into my strength. That's the rebound. That's the powerful part of me. And each one of us has that. So let us support that in each other as an ethical community, as an ethical unity. What I'd like for you to do now is to think about, we've seen some eco voices, but you can feel the seedling of your own eco voice in you, can't you? So just feel it for a minute and take a moment to just dedicate yourself to it, to say, yes, I'm going to grow this eco voice of mine, this unique expression that I have to offer. How will you water that within you so it grows? How will you let it have time and space? Well, you might learn from the ethical culture values of bringing out the best in others and thereby yourself. So start a conversation with somebody about eco voices, where you're cultivating theirs and they're cultivating yours. And this is something we can do in dialogue with each other and share and grow together. I'd like to invite you to now, we're going to do a final cascade of thought together. I'd like you to think of a tree in your own life. One tree, one individual tree that you know. You know it because you've watched it, or you've cared about it, or maybe you've even taken care of it. Or it's outside of your house and you've just noticed it season to season and you've taken it for granted, but now think comes to mind. Ah, I know that tree. Or maybe it's a tree from your childhood that you haven't seen in a long time. One tree that means a lot to you or means something to you. And then I want you to personalize it so much that you actually give it a name, like we name our pets, like we name our children, like we have names that give us individuality. Just give it a name. There's no right or wrong answer. It's whatever comes to your mind. And then in the chat function, we're going to each write the name of our tree. And we could even say hello to it. We could say hello, whoever that tree is, that name of that tree, so that we can see the forest of our minds and our breathing partners helping us. Just take a minute to write the name of your tree, the name you've given your tree. Even in this moment, you might have just given it some idiosyncratic or beautiful or inspired or silly name, whatever you decide. And after we share them, which we haven't done yet, my colleague Carolyn Parker will read just a smattering of them to us, but all of the names will be collectively published as a forest. So one more moment to do that. And I'm going to indicate this when we press the send button with our new word unitary. So we've done humanity, we've done community, and now it's unitary. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, unitary.
Audrey, we have Paul and Solomon and Howard. Hello, Redbud. Hello, Palm Among Oaks. Ready. Oh, my Magnolia Stepfather. Caramel Tree. Sweet Pea. Bertha the Maple. And Oak Tree from my childhood home. Old oak.
So Tree and Me is the title of a drawing that puts us in relationship to our tree consciousness. And I invite you to draw a drawing called Tree and Me, and then to send it to me. And I will be publishing a forest of our drawings. You can send it to me at growing.eco.voices@gmail.com. growing.eco.voices@gmail.com. Because that's what we're doing today. And with that invitation, I just want to say, it's a wonderful exercise, and you don't have to be an artist to do this. It can be a stick figure drawing, or it can be a grand magnum opus. It's whatever you want to do. You can spend 1 minute doing this, or you can spend 10 hours. It's all up to you. This is a freedom drawing. Do what comes to your mind. Tree and Me. But I really encourage you to please do participate and send it to me. Don't feel shy about it. Like, oh, whatever. All of your tree thoughts are of great value. Finally, we came to this concept of unitary, and I want to credit Queen Latifah, who made a song called Unity. And in her song called Unity, she says, hey, let's sing it as a spelling, right? UNITY for unity. But she shows us that UNI means you and I. You and I. You and I, right? So UNITREE. We tree. Do we really tree? Yes, we do. We have trees within our bodies that are bringing in the tree energies from outside to tree within us. Treeing is an effective way of spreading out effectively the power of life, right? So those tree branches that give us oxygen, we breathe them into these lungs that are treeing. It ignites our brains that are treeing. And if you look at science, you'll see this. It's really beautiful. We are treeing. Our blood is treeing into our fingertips, into our toe tips. So feel those trees within as you breathe with the trees that are in the world. And let's sing a song together. Now, this is a song and dance. And after I teach it to you, we're going to all see each other. So let's all do it together. But this is how it goes. We point to all of each other. We say, you. And then you point to yourself, and I, and then you start branching. TREE. Branching means dancing with your arms, making idiosyncratic shapes, starting to know that actually trees are very idiosyncratic. They make these amazing drawings in the sky, especially in this season. So take special time to notice those branches that are bare, because they're drawing these shapes that we're going to mimic, okay? So it goes like this. UNITREE, we tree, we tree, we tree, we tree. Enjoy the forest of us doing it together, okay? So here we go. UNITREE, UNITREE. UNITREE, we tree, we tree, we tree, we tree. UNITREE, 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 we tree, we tree, we tree, we tree. Sing it with me. Are you ready? UNITREE, 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 we tree, we tree, we tree, we tree. Thank you for dancing with me. We're going to watch one more video, an eco voice. This eco voice was developed by a musical artist who worked with our youth, and the words came from her listening to them. What are they thinking about that we can, and how are they thinking about the trees and the way the trees can bring us to a greater in touchness with ourselves This song was especially written for ethical culture.
The tree of depression, the tree of hope, the tree of happiness, the tree of peace, the tree of sorrow, the tree of strength, the tree of gratitude, the tree of love. We are bent, we won't break, branching out to new possibilities through the wind and rain, lightning, thunder, leaves. We're all a part of our community. The tree of more trees, the tree of compassion, the tree of endurance, the tree of hope, the tree of friendliness, the tree of kindness, the tree of wonder, the tree of peace. We are bent, we won't break, branching out to new possibilities through the wind and rain, lightning, thunder, leaves. We're all a part of our community. Will you protect us? Don't cut us down. Help us find balance. Water our ground. We are bent, we won't break, branching out to new possibilities through the wind and rain, lightning, thunder, leaves. We're all a part of our community. We're all a part of our community.
Thank you. So you've gotten a taste of some eco voices. You've felt that seedling of an eco voice within you. Maybe it's actually very mature already and you're, share it. Let us support each other's eco voices to grow. Education, communication is the biggest mitigating factor right now in the solution for climate change. We think that those solutions are out there beyond us. How we talk to each other, how we don't forget about it no matter what, and we keep on invigorating joy and looking at the hard realities and helping those in trouble. The canaries in the coal mine are already suffering. We must grow our eco voices. It is hard to believe that education and communication are the biggest mitigating factors in the solution, but it's true. How we grow each other into becoming stronger solution makers and stronger advocates for ethical development. That is what takes us forward in the best way possible now. So I just want to invite that within each of us, that we grow that strength, that courage, and that vigor that is necessary, and that is, could even be fun, joyful, like I said. Let us do that with and for each other. I want to thank you so much for joining today, joining the ethical culture community in some tree growth within ourselves. I want you to take a deep breath and reinvigorate the tree within, root yourself, feel that rising energy that comes from rooting. Maybe take a stretch, branch out, take a deeper breath than earlier. Shake your head around a little bit. Know that your brain is branching. Thank yourself for coming this morning. Thank each other for coming. Thank you all so much. And now I pass it back with so much gratitude and so much ethical inspiration, actually, to my colleague, Ann Klaeysen, Dr. Ann.
Thank you. And let's all thank Audrey. That was so beautiful, so wonderful. Thank you for bringing this message home to us in such a real way. And, even though we're all on our little Zoom squares, we were embodied and we were connected. So for those of you who already know and love Audrey, this was such a wonderful celebration to see her in action, to see her highlighted in this wonderful way. For those of you who are just meeting Audrey, there's a way to learn more about her, and I'm going to give a little plug for the online course that Audrey and I wrote, and that's on humanist family ceremonies, and I hope the link is going up there. If not, I can provide that for you. And she and I wrote this wonderful course called Humanist Family Life Ceremonies. We imagined it as being support for ethical families, but also for societies, for other congregations, for community and school groups. We also imagined, families and groups far away from ethical societies who maybe are not feeling supported in their own communities, maybe because they are alternative families, or maybe because they have non-theistic beliefs. And so we want to make sure that we provided some support for them in this course. And so I hope that you will click on the link. It's a free course. And there's also a link to the webinar that I gave about it, which is sort of an introduction. And so this is really sort of a step-by-step way, and not just a cookie-cutter template for ceremonies, but rather sort of what you experienced today with Audrey, a way of really getting into the environment and nature and looking to see what are our own values and how can we celebrate those values and put those values into some sort of a form, perhaps into a ceremony or a tradition. So I hope that you will take a look at that. And now I'd like to ask all of you to make a donation to the American Ethical Union. This program was brought to you by the American Ethical Union. I always say, let's put our money where our values are. So let's do that.